Hello and welcome to Business Matters, the show about people behind businesses that help make Tacoma a great place to live and work. I'm your host, Mike Wark, and today my guest is Casey Hubbell, owner of Yoga Wild. Welcome, Casey.
Thank you.
So this is the first time we've had a yoga studio on Business Matters, so this is a really interesting business to me. And yours is unique for a couple of reasons. So tell us about Yoga Wild.
Yoga Wild is a yoga company in Tacoma, and we aim to reach a population outside of the typical yoga demographic.
Okay.
And bring people together under the umbrella of our core values: nature, community, and yoga.
How do they all blend?
We spent our first year nomadic, so we were out in nature and community spaces.
So you held your classes. You were a business, so people pay for your classes, but they're all over.
Right, at Tacoma Nature Center or Foss Waterway Seaport Museum, Happy Belly Restaurant, wherever we could find space, we would teach classes there. And it was a great way for Tacomans to get out and explore their city. We'd have a class at the Esplanade at Foss Waterway, and people would come up and be like, wow, I've never been here before. And it's like, well, how long have you lived in Tacoma? And sometimes 10 years or all their lives. So it was just...
They've never been on the Esplanade.
And never been, or to that museum.
Okay.
And so it's just a really great way to just get out and explore.
So you built a following this way. People like going to different places all the time and doing yoga.
And we built a grassroots movement first, our community, before we opened our brick and mortar, our studio.
That's really interesting. It's kind of like a low-risk way to break in, huh?
Well, we've been a self-funded business from the start, so we've done everything we can to keep overhead low and also to help maintain the sliding scale.
Right. Speaking of overhead low, tell me, this is one of the really unique things about your business. Okay, it started wild, and you still do some of that, right?
Yes, yeah, we're still out there.
You go to rooftops?
Rooftop at Alma Mater.
And that's up on the hill looking out over all of Tacoma. That must be beautiful.
It is.
As long as it's not snowing. Yeah, you haven't tried that yet. Good. So anyway, the sliding scale, tell us about that.
So for all of our drop-in classes, whether it's in our studio or at a different location, students choose $10, $5, or good vibes.
Wow.
And we intentionally say good vibes and not free because
Why is that?
we aren't offering a free class. We are just creating space for students to give however they can. So some people may give by bringing a friend or writing a review or sharing on social media. And all of these things really impact a small business. And I know in my life, when I've needed yoga the most is when I couldn't afford it, and life happens.
So why do people seek out yoga when times are tough?
Yoga can be an impactful way to pause or stop going, and to just pay attention. And it really starts with your body first, paying attention to how you're feeling physically. And then it goes deeper, and you really experience what's going on mentally and emotionally. And you have to be able to pay attention to yourself first before you can really pay attention or care to those around you, your community, the environment. And that's where we kind of tie the nature, community, and yoga in.
That's part of the nature part.
Yeah, self-care is a big aspect of yoga, but for us, it's not the end goal. We have to care for ourselves so that we can be responsible, impactful humans and care for a community and care for nature. There's a bigger picture that we keep at the forefront of all of our classes and activities.
So these values flow through everything you do in the community. Do you find that you attract into your business reflect that and are aware of it?
We definitely attract a particular kind of student that is fantastic, especially in our outdoor and our nature space classes. You know, we had classes at Dune Peninsula, and sometimes flocks of birds go overhead and you'll get droppings on your yoga mat. And it's just amazing to see a student just flip their mat over and keep going. You know, it doesn't ruin everything. We offered a series at Wapato Park in the pavilion, so overlooking the lake, and it was gorgeous, but it was, there was ants everywhere, like the biggest ants I've ever seen in my entire life. And so at first I just stocked up on cinnamon, and we'd make like a cinnamon circle around the yoga mats.
Yeah.
It didn't feel right, like spraying chemicals around
It
the
smelled
space.
good, I'm sure.
It did, and then it got windy, and so that was not a long-term solution. So then I just started carrying a broom with me, and I would just walk around the mats teaching class and occasionally sweeping the ants away. And we went through our 6-week series with only one person getting bit.
Wow.
And it was someone I knew, so it didn't feel so bad. But that's just a different kind of student. And that's when you practice in a studio, you kind of get a false sense of control, where you can control the temperature and the lighting and the music, and all of these things are really almost a little sterile sometimes. But
Consistent, expected.
Yeah, and when we're out in nature, in the community, like there's going to be loud noises or bangs or things that come up, and learning how to deal with those unexpected challenges and just keep going and breathing.
There's also nature. You experience and hear nature in different ways as well when you're turned in that way.
Absolutely. And when we're at the rooftop at Alma Mater, we're there June through August. So when you come in June, it's still really chilly and everyone has layers and blankets with them. And July is usually pretty pristine. And then by August, it's getting darker sooner and you're bringing those layers back. And so returning to a same place in nature over and over and getting to see the seasonal changes and what's going on in the community is really impactful as well.
And on your website, you have a beautiful photograph of the rooftop yoga classes. It looks amazing. So for those that you're trying to attract who haven't experienced yoga, you talk about being aware, but there's another part of that. Once you're aware of yourself, you can, I don't know if control is the right word, but there's things you can do to be more at peace, more relaxed. How do you talk about that?
Well, in all of our classes, whether we're in studio or outside, breath, breathing, pranayama is essential. And just learning how to pay attention to your breath. Often in our day when we are in this constant go or anxiety or stress, our breath can be really up here in the chest and throat, which can also cause more anxiety. And in yoga, we're paying attention to deep breathing and lower, longer breaths, things that can activate our parasympathetic nervous system and help us stay less reactive.
More calm.
More calm.
Parasympathetic. That's a big word. So what does that mean?
And it's the nervous system that allows us to make choices and stay calm when things come up. So yoga or breathing, you can practice every day. It's not going to make hard stuff not happen.
Right.
What we're learning to do is cultivate the skill to sit and breathe and make choices.
And when you're calm and breathing, your brain works better. You think more clearly. And you're more comfortable and less stressed. Yeah. So real quickly, you have a range of types of courses.
Yes. So a majority of our drop-ins in the studio are what is called a vinyasa style class. So you're moving with your breath. We go at a moderate pace. Our studio does not have mirrors or we're not heated. We keep it about 85. And we have classes at 7 a.m. in the morning, so you get time to move and breathe to start your day. We have classes during the day, in the evening. We have 18 a week, so there's 18 at sliding scale, 10, 5 are good vibes. We are adding a couple meditation classes, lunchtime meditation classes to the schedule soon. We also offer series that can go deeper into different aspects of yoga.
So like 1 month or 2 month or 3 month series?
We do it in like 3 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
And we offer a beginner series the first 3 Mondays every month at 4:30. So that's a nice way. And we just talk about all the things, questions people have,
so
the
you
etiquette.
can work into it from beginner to more advanced, which is more paced. And there's a really strong exercise component to this too, right? It helps with fitness.
Yeah, in the drop-in classes, you'll definitely build strength and flexibility, mobility.
And learn how to think clearly and be less stressed. And there's also something I read about on your site where you just learn in 2 minutes how to calm yourself so that you can take a moment, right?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, even stepping into a yoga studio can be intimidating, or the idea of a 60-minute class can be scary, or wearing the right clothes, all of these things.
Or going into a meeting or going to give a speech.
Exactly. And so learning that you don't have to take this full hour for a class. You can learn these skills and spend 2 minutes right before you go into work, or a meeting or a test.
Calm yourself, and it helps you think clearly and be less stressed.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's all kinds of benefits. Health, calmness, being connected with nature and community. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Like a great business. I'm ready to go. Well, Casey, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.